Did you? Oh, I'm sorry. I saw your finger.
Yeah. Tell us. How did you tell us?
I do have a question about that. Was Kepler's thing so huge that it would take something like, you know, you'd need a utility company to do it? Or is it something that, you know, somebody could do in their garage?
Both. It could have been both. There could have been private application for it, and yes, it could have been as large as essentially our grid structure.
So if the science is actually there, why don't people just build it?
They do all over the world.
They actually do?
Yeah, there's all kinds of different inventions all over the world that run from water, you know, cold fusion, just basic different physics components have gone in, or workings have gone in to create all kinds of machines that exist. So I'm going to talk about a couple of those because that is the future. Okay, first off, a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, was hired by a company in Michigan called Alt-E. And Alt-E is a fuel cell manufacturer. And they are right now creating fuel cells to go on taxis in different cities, and they're working on limousines. But the most important thing to tell you about fuel cells is that I had a friend, Mario, who used to drive up to see me every once in a while from Miami. And he was a genius. He was a kid who, like, at the age of 14 or 15, was building everything under the sun. And this guy, with about $450 worth of parts, had built a fuel cell that went on his '99 Honda. They gave him about $150 a gallon. Okay? And this was just an attachment that went on a standard combustion engine. Okay? And here's this guy who's not got some huge college degree, has figured out how to do this and runs his own car on that. So the future of actual mobile transportation is going to have to incorporate fuel cells.
But there's a history of these people with all these inventions being taken out, taken out of the society.
Yep. Yeah, totally.
We
Killed,
kill our
they
property.
disappear, their garages, everything are confiscated. And that's been that's how the trajectory of energy has worked. And all I'm saying now is I think we're moving towards a massive reshifting in the understanding that we've got to move forward. Okay? And while BP may not have been the one that went and killed all these different people, they are now an example of an oil company that we all are saying, hey, guess what? We're going to deal with you. We're going to deal with you. We don't know if we're going to take your money. We don't know if we're going to bankrupt you. We don't know what we're going to do. But an oil company right now is having this done to them. Okay, they're being put under scrutiny, under the thumb. And I will tell you another thing that I think is happening in the psyche is that they equate to all of them. Right, we're all smart enough to realize it wasn't a full Exxon spill. Or it wasn't a Shell spill. But it was something from one of them. And so we think of them kind of comprehensively as one. So we've moved to that place where it's like we're going to rethink the way we think about you. And guess what? You're all going to go under this umbrella.
What was that company?
They're all going to go under the same umbrella in terms of our focus on that. So fuel cells on standard combustion engines are not only possible, but they're out there already in mass. Now the good news is that what I've seen in the future is literally, say like 10 years, whatever, that you take your car to the garage, Walmart garage or whatever, and they put a fuel cell on it, the right kind of one. And then that's it, you're done. Okay? The car that I have out there right now gets 46 miles to the gallon. And I'm talking about 200. I also worked at Lawrence Technological University up in Michigan. And every year they would have these kids from all of these colleges around the country and create supercars. These things already exist. And it is not hard to build a fuel cell to adapt to a conventional standard combustion engine. It's just not. So within 10 years, these will be normal. And I'm talking about a landscape where you're not buying the car because the car has the technology. Right? You're not buying the Prius or the Camry because it's already a hybrid. Now you're just determining what fuel cell you need to get for what already exists. So this is the way to go. So when I kept seeing, like, this is where we're headed, this is where we're headed, and my friend, who's a very high consciousness individual, called me and said, I just got a job. I said, where? He said, building fuel cells. I said, all right, we're right on track. We're all on track. See, because it's like a mainframe. We're linking them together.
Can we get a hold of him?
Well, he's not the one that built the one down in Miami. But yeah, I mean, you can go on YouTube and just, you know, put in fuel cells, cars, and there's lots of people who make videos. Now, the advance that I am most interested in, okay, even more than fuel cells excite me, is something that would liberate you in your own home. Would liberate you in your own home. And I started to have these visions of a wheel within a wheel. And I would be out in public and all of a sudden I'd see this wheel generating inside another wheel. And I'd see these big spinning wheels in the sky. Well, I'm not too biblically literate, but that's exactly what happened to the prophet Ezekiel. Is he had these visions come from the sky of wheels within wheels. Okay? And this is part of the story where humankind is separating as angelic and he doesn't exactly know everything that he's seeing. But the important part of the passages in the book of Ezekiel are about a wheel within a wheel. And I would see this wheel within a wheel. I didn't have that context to it yet. And then certain things would happen, like certain things would happen. I'll give you a good example. The Harvard professor Henry Louis Gates Jr. was arrested in his home. Some of you remember that from the news. He was the Harvard professor who got off a flight, didn't have the keys to his house, he was going in and around, whatever, and the cops ended up coming and they said he went crazy, so we had to arrest him. And it was bad. And Obama ended up sitting down with the cops and Gates and having a beer.
Yeah.
Well, something similar happened to me and my husband last summer that was very much like that. And after these two incidents went down, I just sat in the corner and I was like praying to God. I was like, what is this all about? And I heard just as loud as I possibly could, Ezekiel, Ezekiel. So I went and picked up my Bible, looked in the book of Ezekiel, and in the book of Ezekiel was this wheel that I've been seeing over and over again. So what I understand now is I've seen the technology of the wheel within the wheel, which is different from the story. But there's an inventor in Australia who has created a battery pack, essentially a large battery. I would say that probably, how big would it be? It would be about the size of, well, it would probably be about this tall and about this wide. And what it is it's a battery unit that you use in your home where it creates more power than you actually need. And it takes your home immediately off the grid. It's big, like big. I don't even know how you really like it. But they're running their entire, he and all of his inventors, his friends who have this, they run their entire home on this that produces more energy than you need. And